Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's training. It's Desiree Stafford. Super excited to be here with you today. Got a lot of stuff I want to share because, it really kind of frustrates me to see so many talented entrepreneurs really struggling to really take their business to the next level, to even see sustainable income so that you can really, serve the people that you're here to serve and also live the big life that matches your big purpose. So that's what we're talking about today. And I also want to dispel the myth that you have to be a business coach or that you have to sell make money offers in order to make, significant income in your business, to be able to take care of yourself, your family, whoever it is or whatever it is that's important to you, okay? So I'm going to do a couple things. We're going to do camera like this. I'm going to ask you to mute your line. And I want this to be interactive. So I will be asking questions throughout the presentation. You'll be able to, get your questions answered, things like that. And this should be a really fun training. I will just let you know, I adopted a rescue a week ago today. And right now she's sleeping. But she's known to kind of get up and wander around during training. So if you see my eyes dart around, that's what we're doing, what we're dealing with here. But she seems to be quiet right now. So let me open this, and there we go. And I'm going to share my screen with you and welcome you officially to today's training. There we go. Okay. So there we go. There it is. Today's training. How to stop hunting for clients and command 5-figure weeks or days, even if you're a spiritual entrepreneur and not a business coach, okay? So I already shared with you why I really want to do this training, because so many people have the misconceived notion that in order to make any real money as an expert, as a coach, as a mentor, as a consultant, any of those kind of things, or someone in a service-based business, that you have to sell business coaching, and it's so not true. And that's why there's so many people who are, calling themselves business coaches. They're not succeeding because that's not really where their heart is. That's not what they're really here to do. So we're going to talk about why you don't have to be one. You can be one and make great money, but you don't have to be. Cool? All right. So my promise to you is that in the next 60 minutes, you're going to discover how to attract the clients behind your 5-figure weeks or days. Okay. I also want you to stay till the end because I have a bonus for those of you who showed up live. I'm going to teach you how to manifest really fast, because so many people struggle with this, struggle with getting what they want, struggle with attracting the amount of clients and making the kind of money that they desire. And you can really speed up the process. And I'm going to share with you the way that I do it and the way that I share with my clients so that we get results pretty quickly. Okay. And then I really want you to understand we're talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about 5-figure weeks, 5-figure days, 5-figure sales, if you dare. So I don't want you for anyone to perceive this as some kind of like get rich quick kind of thing, because that's not what it is. It does require work. It does require effort. But the way that I will show you how to do things, it doesn't require as much effort as you've likely been putting into your business right now. Got it? Okay. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today. Now, my eyes itching. One second. Here's what we're going to cover today. How to sell your transformational services for $5,000 or $10,000 and collect full pay. Okay? You can collect full pay, even at the 10K and plus level. Even if you're struggling to attract clients right now. Whoops. Hold on. Let me see if I can mute all. Okay, so I've just muted everybody's line. All right, so even if you're attracting clients right now who, they don't have the funds to invest with you, and you're charging low fees. So maybe you're charging like $100 an hour, or maybe you're charging a couple $100 for a package and people are still telling you that they can't afford it. I'm going to show you how you can actually charge at a much higher level and attract the people who are willing to invest with you, okay? We're also going to talk about how to explode your thinking and schedule your yearly income in the next 90 days without a big launch, without thousands of people on your list, or even a 10-person team, okay? And then finally, we're going to talk about the secret to annihilating excuses before your discovery sessions. This is for you if you often have those picture-perfect discovery calls, and then they take a wrong turn, and they end with something like, I can't afford it, Okay. It's nothing more frustrating than spending, 45, 60 minutes on a discovery session. And then you hear, I can't afford it. And you're like, seriously? Okay. So that's what we're talking about today. Now, let me just make sure you're in the right place. Okay. Let me know if this feels like it's true for you. And you can type in the chat box if you'd like to kind of just let me know where you're at with your business. You have some clients right now, but they're hard to come by. This is one of the biggest challenges for the clients that I work with. They have clients, they're making some money, but just not enough money. And they don't know how to shift things, right? They don't know how to bring in more of the clients. You've invested a fortune in marketing and sales training, and you're still undercharging. And typically when you're undercharging, you're also over-delivering, right? Is that you? Do you feel frustrated when you see others charging at the $5 or the $10 or even $20,000 level, and you're struggling to attract clients who can afford your low fees right now? Okay. This is also for you if you're living on Facebook. If you're on every single social media platform, you're blogging, you're networking, but you feel like you can't get your message heard above the noise. Okay. That's frustrating, isn't it? Like you're doing all this work 24/7, you're posting videos, blog posts, just things on social media, like on Facebook, on LinkedIn, everything you can think of, and it's still not making a dent. You're still not getting the clients coming in. Or maybe you feel like, you're either struggling to book discovery sessions, or the people that you do book discovery sessions with are not qualified peeps. Now that's another sense of frustration, right? Or another source of frustration. And then finally, you're secretly afraid of what other people are going to think of you when you make more money. This is a big, big deal. I would say probably 90% of my clients, this is a big thing that's holding them back before we start working together. Okay. So if that's you, you are in the right place. So let's talk about what's missing. Let's talk about why you're doing all this work, but you're not getting the result, right? You're not getting the financial reward. You're not getting the freedom that you started your business for. Like none of that stuff is happening for you. You have a business, you make money, but it's just not serving you, right? You feel like you're constantly in the business, but you're not really working on the business. You don't feel like you can take time away. You don't feel like you can enjoy your life, your friends, your family, your relationships, because everything is poured into this business and it's still not producing what you need it to produce, okay? So let's talk about what is missing. Why is this not happening? I can tell you this. You do not need to work harder. Now, this is obviously if you're someone who's exhausted from working hard as it is, right? You don't have to lower your fees. In fact, we're going to talk about how you can raise your fees, right? It's not about building a list. You don't need a bigger list. Can a big list help? Obviously, if it's filled with the right people. But yes, a big list can help, but is it necessary in order for you to get to where you're trying to go income-wise? No. And I'll tell you why, okay? Do you need a fancier website? Absolutely not. I make 5 figures, actually multi-5 figures a month, and I have a DIY website, do it yourself, or DIY website. I've had it for years, okay? Do you need a complex funnel? Do you need launches? No and no. Do you need fancy photo shoots in front of the Eiffel Tower? No, right? Are all those things nice to have if you want them? Sure, other than the complex funnel and the launches. That's just a lot of extra work that you don't need to do. But everything else, they're nice to have, but you don't need to have those things. They're not the reason that you're not getting the results that you desire, okay? I'll tell you what the link is. It's about how well you understand yourself and your purpose, okay? If you've been following my marketing at all, you'll notice that I talk a lot about seeing yourself and what you do from a higher perspective. We're going to go deeper on that in today's training because this is the missing link for you, okay? This is the missing link. So let me just introduce myself. My name's Desiree Stafford. If you've never been on one of my trainings before, it's very nice to meet you, okay? Now I have 4-day work weeks. I do 5-figure paydays. And this is a far cry from where I was, and I'll share with you my backstory in just a second. And I get that from only a handful of dream to work with clients. So I only work with a handful of clients, and I make pretty good money on my business, okay? I don't live on Facebook. I don't blog. I don't guest post. I don't do networking. I'm an introvert. I hate networking. I don't do anything that doesn't feel like fun. Now, this is a huge shift, right? This is a shift that's occurred over the last 6 months of my business. And I've been a coach a mentor for the last 3 years. So the first 2.5 years, it was hard, right? It was really hard. And I've made a huge transition. I actually have an international client base right now. I run my business with a cell phone and a laptop, and I have a 5-hour per week VA. And actually, I just let go of my VA, and I'm interviewing more. So I'm still marketing, I'm still growing my business, and I don't even have support right now. And it doesn't stress me out because my business is so simple. It's so seamless that not having that additional pair of hands doesn't stop my flow, doesn't stop clients from coming in, doesn't stop cash from coming in. And your business should be able to operate the same way. And I'll share with you how, okay? My superpower is helping my clients leverage their individuality and collapse their monthly income into a day. And we'll talk about that in today's training. And then just so you know, I typically work with a client who's been in business for a little bit. So usually maybe 12 months to about 5 years is pretty much my sweet spot. Definitely not someone who's just starting out is not typically my ideal client. But usually someone who's been at this for a little bit, they're making some money, just not making the headway that they want to make, okay? So these are clients who on average, I should say, see their first 10K month or 20K week in less than 60 days. So my typical client will see results anywhere between 4 weeks to 6 weeks. Got it? Okay. So just so you know, it doesn't have to take a long time to get the kind of results that I'm going to be sharing with you in today's training. Now, let me just let you know my little story here. Like I said, I do pretty well for myself, but it hasn't always been this way. The first 2.5 years of my business were a real struggle. And I'll tell you how I got started. You know, I've been laid off more times than I can count, which is actually what led me to decide I was even going to become an entrepreneur, because for the longest time, I thought I was just going to be an employee, right? It never even occurred to me that I wanted to own my own business until about 10 years ago. Like I said, been laid off so many times, clearly not meant to work for other people. And that led me to start my first business. And running that business part-time, I took it to 6 figures in 12 months. Pretty fun, right? That's like not a bad return for someone who I had no clue what the hell I was doing in business. I had a full-time job. I had gotten, rehired, had a full-time job, and was working my business part-time and got it to 6 figures in 12 months, okay? From there, I had another little business that's not on here, but it was a little tiny business. It was actually a cupcakery. It's an award-winning cupcakery, and I had a partner. But that partnership didn't work out, and I moved on. And I moved into another business where I became another partner, and it was a 7-figure business, okay? And we were doing well for the first 2 years, and then it failed. We actually had to close the business, and I went back to work with my tail tucked between my legs, feeling like a complete failure. Because here I was, a partner in a 7-figure business, and then I had to go back to a job. But all's not lost, because that's what actually led me to becoming a coach. Because in that time, when I had, when I had the space to really analyze what happened and realize how much of my internal shit was kicking up and getting in my way from allowing me to be successful, and how I was self-sabotaging myself and all this kind of stuff, I decided that if I were to become a coach, I could actually help other people not have to make the decision that I made to go back to work. So then I decided I'm going to become a coach, right? But it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, right? I did invest right away. Oh, sorry about the sound. Let me see. My neighbors apparently are doing yard work. So I did invest right away in getting some, certifications, getting some support so that I can learn how to market myself as a coach, create packaging, all this kind of stuff. I invested $18,000 to get that, okay? And it still took me 8 months for my first high-end sale, which was a $2,500 sale, okay? Just so you know, I was mortified that it could take me that long to get a result, especially when I had already invested in getting the support that I thought that I needed, okay? So got there, this $2,500 sale, it just wasn't enough, right? It certainly was not a good return. And I have a background in real estate. I know what a return looks like, and that was not a good return. So it was hard. It was really hard. felt like a failure every time I saw people post about their 5-figure months, and I wasn't getting that, although I had invested that in terms of, getting the coaching and the training that I needed. And so I just kept pouring money. Every time a sale would come in, I'd pour money back into marketing and mindset and all this kind of training that I thought that I needed. And don't get me wrong, I think training is important. It's what I do, right? I teach, I lead my clients, I show them how to shift things in their business. But I can just tell you that what I was doing wasn't working for me. The training that I was getting, the strategies that I was using just wasn't working. And I was so frustrated. I got to a point where I had invested over $14,000 in Facebook ads, and I barely made a return. Barely made a return. Okay? That's a lot of time and money to waste, and not get what you needed. And then to really feel like you were still a living magnet for I can't afford it clients, because that's what was happening for me. Most of the people that I was attracting would tell me the same thing. I can't afford it. And it was frustrating. Okay. By the time I finally did make it to 10K months, because I did, I was exhausted. I was literally exhausted. I was posting 24/7, right? 3 to 5 times a day, 7 days a week. There's a lot of shit, right? And I just felt like I wasn't really able to show up for myself in my personal life, and I wasn't really able to show up for my clients the way that I needed to show up, because I was in this constant fear of money or not having enough money, and this constant treadmill of trying to create content like a little machine. It was literally driving me nuts, because that's not who I am. That's not my purpose. It's not to create content 24/7. It's actually to be serving my clients. And that's what I really wanted to do. That's why I became a coach, because I really wanted to work with my clients. So I got to the point where I was frustrated. I wanted to scale my business. I didn't want to burn out, because I was on the verge of that. So I found a mentor, someone that, I knew could actually help me shift things in my business. The problem was I didn't have the cash available. My credit cards were still maxed out, right? So it wasn't fun, because if you're at the place where you're making money in your business, but let's say you're selling packages at $3,000, you're taking payment plans, so you're getting $1,000 per client. So you may be seeing anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 cash. As well as I know, that that's not a lot of money to live off of, right? That's where I was. I just didn't have the cash to make the 5-figure deposit in my mentor, okay? Not the whole program, just the deposit was 5 figures. So I did come up with the money. I had to find it. I had to sell what I could sell. I had to, get more clients. I had to do whatever I had to do to get the money for the 5-figure investment with her. Now, the 5-figure deposit. I did not have the ongoing payments, but I will tell you this, finding the money to make the deposit gave me 2 things. Number one, it reminded me that I could do this, but then it also created a sense of urgency, because I had to make the sales in order to make the ongoing payments, okay? And it all worked out, because within 30 days, I returned my full investment, okay? So this is what's possible, right? Now, again, this is coming from someone who struggled for the first 8 months to make anything, right? To then being able to return a 5-figure investment within 30 days. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So picture this. Let's say, see an intuitive. She's struggling to sell her $500 programs for 2 years, okay? Everyone says they want it, but nobody can afford it. She makes 3 tweaks, and within weeks, she's selling $5,000 packages with ease, okay? Picture this, a health coach who can't book sessions, I got a typo, to save her life, and after a year, she only has a tiny list, and it's a dead list, by the way, okay? She makes a tweak and she books 20 discovery sessions from 1 email to that dead list, okay? Picture this, a book publisher who works her tail off for 5 years and she still can't break through 4K months, okay? She can never make more than $4,000 a month, and sometimes a little bit less, all right? She revamps her offer and she leaps to her first 20K week using only Facebook posts in less than 60 days, okay? These are the results that my clients have gotten, and I should tell you that none of these clients used any paid advertising. Now, this is not a knock against paid ads, right? I think they're awesome. But my point is you don't have to use them, right? You can make great money in your business. You do not have to be a business coach, and you do not have to spend money on ads, okay? Just so you know. Now, let me ask you this, and type this into the chat box. If you keep doing what you're doing and nothing changes in your business, where can you see yourself in the next 90 days, in the next 6 months, or the next year? Okay? Where can you see yourself? Because I can tell you that it took me it's 3 years now to see real improvement in my business. And I have added since March over $100,000 to my income. Since March, okay? So that's a huge leap in income, but it took me 2.5 years to get here because I didn't know what I was doing, right? I had no clue what I was doing. So my question to you is, if you keep doing what you're doing and nothing changes, and you're getting the results that you're getting right now, where do you see yourself in the next 90 days, 6 months, or a year, right? Do you see yourself achieving the goals that you set for yourself or not? Okay. So let's talk about how we can turn things around. I want to share with you how to sell your transformational services for $5,000 or $10,000 and still collect full pay, even if you're struggling to attract clients right now who are willing to invest at your lower fees, okay? This is a big, big problem, all right? I was there. My clients have been there. And it's enough to make you think that, you know, if people won't pay you $2,000 for a program, if people won't pay you $100 an hour, you know, for your services, you're really thinking to yourself, well, then how the hell am I going to charge $5,000 or $10,000, right? Well, here's how you do it, okay? Let's see if there's a question. I might take your question in a little bit if it's a question. Oh, man. Yay. Oh, crap. I have to come back for your question because I don't even know how to get back there now. Let's see. Same place, which is insanity. Exactly. I hear you. All right. So let's see. This is what you need to do if you want to raise your fees. If you want to be able to charge at the 5 or the 10K level or higher than that, there's some things that you need to understand. Number one, you need to sell only what you can deliver with your eyes closed. So you remember when I talked about the missing link and I talked about how, you know, what everything has to do with is how you see yourself and how you understand yourself and what it is that you do or what your purpose is. That leads back to your offer. One of the biggest problems I see in this industry are brilliantly talented people. They've got the gifts, they've got the expertise, but they're not selling an offer that is based on their zone of genius. Or if they start to sell it based on their zone of genius, they start to kind of clutter it with all kinds of other things that they're not really good at. You want to make sure your offer is related to your purpose because that's what you're here to do, right? Your purpose is what allows you to help your clients achieve epic transformation. So you don't want to clutter it up with all that other stuff, right? You want to only sell what you know you are the best at, okay? And so obviously that's going to be something that you literally can deliver with your eyes closed. So this is something that honors all of who you are, honors all of your gifts and your talents, your life experience, your work experience, all that kind of stuff that makes you you and that makes the way that you deliver your transformation different than the way anyone else delivers it. That's what you need to focus on, okay? When you have that offer and then you understand how it solves a major life and or business problem for your clients, you will have no problem charging at the 5 or the 10K level, okay? Because what you have to understand is that your pricing is based on the value of the result that your clients experience after working with you, okay? It's based on the value of the result. Has nothing to do with you, okay? You also have to make sure, though, that you're selecting the right clients. This is another key. If you've experienced in the past working with clients who did not get the result that they signed up for, it means that there's something off in your equation. It means either you're not delivering from your zone of genius, you're not selling to the right clients, and you don't understand the value of your offer. right? You don't understand what the result is that you're going to help somebody achieve. You're not understanding what that major life or business problem is that you're here to solve, okay? It's only one of those three things. It has nothing to do with you not being worthy enough. It has nothing to do with you charging too much. It has nothing to do with any of those things. Any of those things that you've been thinking or telling yourself that you're not good enough, you're not ready yet, like all that junk it's garbage, right? It really is garbage. Because if one of these three is off, or a combination of these three is off, that's why you're not getting the results. That's why there's so many people who have tried to sell high-end fees and they failed. Then they go back to charging a low-end fee. And that doesn't solve the problem, right? Because what that does is it lowers your confidence, it lowers your self-esteem. Guess what happens when your confidence is lowered? How do you show up as the coach or mentor you're supposed to be in order to help your clients get the results? You can't, right? Because you're so consumed with your own doubt, right? This is why you need to understand these three things and figure out what it is of these three things, these parts of the equation that have been off, so you can handle that, attract the right clients, sell what you're here to sell, and help people get epic results. That's what you're here to do. Got it? Okay. So let me ask you this. How much money have you made in the past 90 days? And you can share this in the chat if you'd like or not, but I really want you to think about it. I really want you to sit back and think, since March, how much money have you made in your business? Okay. Then the second question is that what you wanted to make? Right? Is it what you wanted to make? Most of the clients I work with, they're anywhere between $2,000 to about $7,000 a month. That's not what they want to make, right? It's not what they want to make. Certainly wasn't what I wanted to make. And I was at $10,000 a month, right? And I wasn't happy with that. You know, I felt like I was working hard all month long, and the way my offers were structured, you know, I felt cash poor all the time. So $10,000 a month looks good on paper, but I was broke. You know what I mean? So think about how much money you've made in the last 90 days and how much you actually want to make. What's the difference, right? Because the difference is telling you what it's costing you right now to not have those three things we just talked about handled, okay? Now, let's talk about how you can explode your income, right? I really want you to think about how you make money differently, all right? Because I want you to see how you can actually schedule your yearly income in the next 90 days. And you're not going to need a big launch. You're not going to need thousands of people on your list. You're not even going to need 10 people on your team. You don't need any of that stuff to get the kind of results that are really possible for you, okay? So I'm giving you two different scenarios. One is for $100,000 in 90 days. The second is for $50,000 in 90 days, based on where you are, okay? So what you see at the top, the 3 clients per month at 10K, that was the strategy that I used to add $100,000 to my income since March, okay? The second option is 6 clients per month at $5,000. Now that's not a lot. What that means is that you only need 1 to 2 clients a week in order to see that kind of income. Can you imagine that? Like, I really want you to take that in. You only need 1 to 2 clients a week to get those kind of results, okay? Let's say you're looking to make $50,000 in the next 90 days, okay? That means 3 clients per month at $5,000 each, or 6 clients per month at $2,500 each. Again, only 1 to 2 clients a month. I'm sorry, 1 to 2 clients a week in order to get those kind of results, okay? It's not a lot. I really need you to understand that it's not a lot. Getting those amount of clients is really simple when you understand what we've talked about today and what I'm gonna share with you as we move forward in today's training as well, okay? But I really want you to take that in and really start to look at your business different. Now, these are only examples. You can do a combination of offers that can help you achieve those numbers as well. But this is just a really quick, short example and kind of rounding up, right? Because 3 clients per month at at $5,000 each is only $15,000 a month, which is only $45,000 in 90 days. But have you already made $45,000 in 90 days or not, right? So just so you know what's possible for you, okay? And I was kind of making the math easier for myself. All right. So you might be thinking, well, let me go back to this slide really quickly. You might be thinking, okay, well, that sounds easy, but I'm not booking enough discovery calls right now. You know, there's so much talk about discovery calls. There's so much talk about, you know, what do they call them? Assessment calls and things like that. And what I would like for you to really understand is that you do not need to have a calendar full of discovery calls in order to see results like this, okay? I mean, I could book 3 discovery calls and close 2 out of 10, 2 out of 3 of those calls, okay? You don't need a ton of calls to get these kind of results, just so you're aware. When you learn how to market in a way that speaks directly to your people, and we're going to talk about that in today's training, when you learn to market in a way that speaks directly to your people, you eliminate a lot of the waste, meaning you eliminate a lot of the quantity of calls that you think you might need in order to get the results that you're after. You know, I've been seeing lately ads where people talk about they attract 100 qualified leads a day, or they've attracted 100 discovery calls in a month and they made $20,000. Well, that should tell you that their conversion is off, or that they're not attracting the right people, right? There's one thing to go after quantity, but when you really focus on being precise and you focus on quality, you don't have to waste so much time and so much effort trying to attract the masses only to pull 2 or 3 clients out of that group. It just doesn't even make any sense, right? If I were to do 100 calls in a month, I would make a lot more than $20,000, right? And the same is true for you. You don't need those kind of numbers to produce these kind of results when you understand how to market. And marketing, by the way, includes your offer. It includes being very specific about who it is that you're speaking to and understanding the natural way that you attract and convert the people you're meant to serve, okay? So just to give you some kind of insight behind how this is possible, because I don't want it to feel like it's not doable, because it's absolutely doable for you, okay? So moving on. How often, when you do get your discovery calls booked, how often do they end with some kind of version of it's too expensive or I'd like to but, okay? Because that used to happen to me all the time. Remember what I shared with you in the beginning about my story? I had invested all this money, you know, in learning how to coach and learning how to market and learning how to create packages, and I'm still attracting people who tell me they can't afford it. It was driving me nuts. So if you've experienced that, you know what it feels like. It feels like a punch in your gut. You feel like, will this ever work? What's going on? Why is it not working, right? You feel like all that kind of stuff. And you may even be tempted to convince clients to work with you, or you may be tempted to sign the wrong clients because you're stressed over cash. You don't know where the next sale is going to come from. None of that feels good. None of that's healthy for you mentally or emotionally, okay? None of it's good for you. So let's talk about how to switch that, right? Let's talk about the secret, in fact, to annihilating excuses before your discovery sessions. And again, this is for you if those picture perfect calls often turn out or end up with, I can't afford it, okay? So there's a secret to this. Well, maybe it's not a secret, but it's probably something that you've not been noticing. It could be a blind spot for you, okay? And it's 2 things. Number 1, you need to eliminate your own excuses. So for example, if you hear I can't afford it or not, where are you saying I can't afford it in your life? So it may not be directly related to the programs that you've invested in, but where else are you saying I can't afford it? Because that cannot exist in your vocabulary. If you hear things a lot like, well, I don't have the time, where are you saying I don't have the time in your life, right? Or in your business? And the reason this is so important is because when you stop tolerating that from yourself, you will no longer tolerate that from prospects or clients, okay? So when you know that you're willing to invest in whatever it is that you think you need to grow your business, when a prospect tells you that, you're not going to buy into it, right? And not only are you not going to buy into it, but you're going to be able to speak directly to the hearts and the minds of the people who need to work with you now. You're no longer going to be speaking to the people who can't afford it, right? Because something will shift in your brain. right? So that instead of marketing to the people who are going to show up and they tell you, well, I'd love to, but I can't, or it's too expensive, they go away. Your marketing will actually start repelling them and attracting the people who are ready to invest with you now. Now, here's the thing you need to understand about this. This is deeper than your niche. So most people will talk about, well, you need to choose a niche, which is true, but you actually need to go deeper than your niche. And I say niche, some people say niche, right? You need to go deeper than that. Here's why. Because your niche are the people who have the problem that you solve. Fantastic, right? But what about the people who are ready now? Because not everyone in your niche is ready now, right? Not everybody's ready now. There's a ton of people that I can help. Not all of them are ready. You've got to be really clear about who it is that is experiencing the problem that you can solve for them now. And your marketing needs to speak to that. Your marketing needs to create a sense of urgency, okay? It needs to tap into the conversation that's already going on in their mind so they understand why they need you. And you also need to understand why they need you, right? You need to understand why now and why you. If you don't know those things, your marketing will not have the same impact that it needs to attract the people who are ready now. What will happen is you'll continue to attract people who kind of sort of wanna, maybe someday never, right? That's not what you want. You want the people who are ready now. They're on fire now, okay? And they see you as someone who has the solution to solve the problem that they're experiencing, okay? And it starts with you eliminating your own excuses. So I can tell you when things shifted for me, because I rarely hear I can't afford it in my calls, okay? So it shifted for me when I hired my latest mentor, I should say. Because like I mentioned to you earlier, I had to work my ass off to come up with the investment in order to hire her. I didn't have that cash around. And it shifted something for me. And I just kind of thought, well, hey, wait a minute. If I can do this when I don't have the cash, and I made the commitment to her before I had the cash in the bank for the deposit. If I could do that, there is no way in hell I'm tolerating a client or a prospect telling me that they can't afford it, right? If I could find the time to do what I was supposed to do in order to attract the clients who are willing to pay me even at my 5-figure fees, then I will not tolerate a client or a prospect who won't, right? And it's the same thing with you. When you raise your standards for yourself, you automatically raise the standards for the people that you attract, okay? Those two things are related. They're related, okay? So you need to start investigating where it is that you're not demanding more for and of yourself and shift that, all right? Shift it. All right, so that's how you annihilate those excuses before people get on the phone. Right? Because when you start seeing yourself and what you do from a higher perspective, I should say, you show up in the marketplace differently. You show up in the marketplace as a person who, can produce XYZ result, not as a person who feels like they have to convince somebody to hire them. This is where the whole concept of no longer hunting for clients comes from, because I don't hunt for clients anymore. I do trainings. I post a couple times a week. I literally post typically 4 to 5, I would say 3 to 5 times a week. And I make multi-5 figures a month. I'm not chasing clients anymore. I'm not hunting after prospects, right? The same is possible for you, but you do need to make this flip. You do need to make this internal adjustment, okay? Because from that place, everything changes. And they're subtle tweaks. They're subtle tweaks, but that's when things change, all right? Because how you are in your business influences the way you show up in your personal life, right? And vice versa. So this isn't about more than, making great money and attracting amazing clients, but it's about the woman you get to be in the world, right? It really is about that. And you get to decide who that person is, all right? So let's recap what we covered today. We're doing amazing on time. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the chat box, all right? So we talked about how to sell your transformational services at 5 or 10K fees and also collect full pay. And part of this, I didn't talk about as much. You have to be open to receiving full pay, okay? Because the money is there for you. You have to be open to receiving it, all right? And this is possible for you, again, even if you've been struggling to attract clients who are willing to invest with you at your low fees now. And I talked about what that really comes down to. It's making sure that you have an offer that you feel that you can confidently sell and deliver with your eyes closed. So this is an offer that is born from your purpose, okay? What it is that you're here to do. You also need to make sure that your offer, you understand what the result is that your offer delivers. So what is the major life or business problem that it solves, okay? And you price based on that. You price based on the result or the value that a client gets from investing with you. And you also need to make sure that you are only working with the clients who are going to get the results, okay? So that means being really clear on who the clients are that you're meant to serve, okay? You're not here to serve everybody because everybody won't get the best result from working with you. There are people who will. You need to know who they are and you need to market directly to them, okay? We talked about how to explode your income or explode your thinking and schedule your yearly income in the next 90 days. So I shared with you two different plans. I shared with you a plan for 100K in 90 days and a plan for 50K in 90 days. And I walked you through even the plan that I used to add $100,000 to my income since March, okay? So you can use these two depending upon where it is that you want to be in your business. Now, I should mention, I didn't do a big launch. I did the same thing I do today. I did 3 to 5 Facebook posts a week, and I did webinars. That's it. I didn't even do paid ads. I think I probably spent maybe $100 in ads over the last 3.5 months experimenting. That's it, okay? But I didn't really do ads to kind of fill the webinars. I was just experimenting with different things, all right? I have a tiny, tiny list. Half of them don't even respond to my messages because that list was built when I first started my business and my message has changed so dramatically, okay? And I don't have a 10-person team. I already mentioned that I actually let go of my VA and I'm in the process of replacing her. So you don't need to have a huge team in order to support you, right? You know, over the last 3.5 months, my VA at the time was only working 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week, okay? And I was still able to produce the income that I produce. And then I shared with you the secret to annihilating excuses before your discovery sessions. And I broke this down. The first thing you need to do is annihilate your own excuses. Whatever excuses are coming up for you, and you can tell what excuses are coming up for you because they're usually mirrored back to you by the prospects, by the people who are on the phone with you. Investigate where in your life do you have that excuse? Because when you stop tolerating it from yourself, you will stop tolerating it from prospects and clients, okay? And then I also shared with you that you want to learn how to market and speak directly to your dream clients, the people that you're here to serve. Okay, you want to be able to communicate directly to their hearts and their minds. All right, you have to understand what the pain is that's keeping them up at night so that you can position yourself and your offer as a solution to their problem. Got it? All right, so let's see. We're doing well on time. You have 2 choices, all right? I shared a lot with you, right, in a very short amount of time, and you do have some choices here. You can take what I've shared with you and try to implement on your own without losing, can you see my screen? I should have turned off Facebook. Without losing more time and money, okay? Or you can learn from someone who's been where you are, has a proven system, and can help you get results faster with a lot less effort, all right? You do not want to go through what I went through the first 2.5 years of my business. I was literally exhausted all the time. And when I wasn't exhausted, I was frustrated and crying myself to sleep at night, right? And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to. The business that I run today, there's so much peace. There's so much space in my day. There's so much of a sense of accomplishment. When I work with my clients, I show up better for my clients. They get amazing results because I'm showing up refreshed. I'm able to serve them. I can think clearly because I don't have the same stress and worries that I used to have. And the same is possible for you too, okay? So if you're ready to command 5-figure weeks or days, I have an invitation for you. I'm helping 5 women identify what's working and what's not working in their business. And I'm also going to tell you what you need to have in your marketing, which includes your offer, so that you can start welcoming 10K and 20K months, weeks, or days whenever you want them, right? Because they are here for you already. It's just you can't see them yet. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Got it? Okay. So if that's you, I'm going to tell you how to get a hold of me, but let me just let you know who exactly this offer is for, this invitation. This is for you if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, okay? You're already making sales in your business. You got some cash coming in from your business. So you're not afraid to get on a sales call. You're just maybe not closing them as frequently as you'd like, or you're not scheduling enough of them, okay? Your mission is to sell transformation, not just packages, all right? So you're someone who literally wants to help a person transform their life. If that's you, this invitation is for you, okay? You're also someone who's ready to work with the most amazing clients you've ever dreamed of. So these are clients who value you and your work. So if you've ever worked with a client who's been a pain in the ass, who's been needy, who's been demanding, it's like nothing you ever do is ever good enough, this is for you, okay? This is also for you if you desire a high profit, low overhead business model that gives you the funds to fulfill your purpose. So the expense that I have in my business right now is a VA when I rehire, right? I don't spend money on anything else. I barely spend money on ads unless I'm experimenting with something. And then I have little costs. I have like my autoresponder costs, things like that, but that's it. I'm not paying joint venture partners for commission, which can typically run anywhere from 30 to 50% of your profit. So a lot of times when you see a person say, well, I had a 6-figure launch, that's not what they take home, right? Because almost half of that in most cases is going to pay JV partners, okay? I don't have a huge staff, so I'm not paying staff. Like, you can really have a high profit business, very low overhead, and be able to take care of yourself, be able to take care of your family the way you really want to, and be able to have, the freedom that you've always craved, and be able to show up powerfully for your clients. Because let me tell you something, the better you're able to take care of yourself, how they say put the oxygen mask on yourself first, the better you're able to take care of yourself first, the better you're able to take care of everyone else. That includes your clients, that includes your family, that includes your partners and your friends, right? It includes all of that. So you want to make sure that you're able to provide for yourself, right? You want to make sure of that. And finally, this is for you if you're committed to unleashing your authentic fire and standing out like never before. So this is not going to be for someone who doesn't want to get out of your comfort zone. You kind of want to continue to play small. So oftentimes you hear a lot of people talk about visibility. Well, yes, you can be visible all day long, but if you're not truly showing up as who you are, it doesn't matter. You're still invisible to your clients. All right. So I'm looking for women who are ready to unleash, their authentic fire. They're ready to really stand out and roar and be the women that they're called to be. That means having an opinion and voicing it. That means not caring what other people think about what you have to say, right? Because you're so connected to your purpose. You're so on a mission to help your people that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone and allow yourself to be you. And I can promise you that the more you are, the more of the right clients you'll attract, okay? So if that's you, if you meet all this criteria, here's how you can get a hold of me. You're gonna wanna go to tinyurl.com/D Stafford session. Again, it's tinyurl.com/D Stafford session. Once you get there, you can choose the time, and then you can fill out a questionnaire. Once I receive it, I'll approve it if it's a fit, and then we'll get on the phone and we'll have a conversation about you and your business. Got it? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. We have 10 minutes left, and I have a bonus training for you. Remember, those of you who signed up or who showed up live, I have a training for you. So let me do this. Hold on. I think I have to stop screen share first. Oh, there we go. And take a sip of water. Let me answer any questions. Does anyone have any questions before I move on? Questions, anyone? Okay. All right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to stop the recording.